Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we are going to be talking about Ripple and XRP, as well as the vast majority of crypto and finance. And with that being said, I hope that you're all having a beautiful day or a beautiful night wherever you guys are out there in the world. So if you have been around the XRP community long enough, then you probably already know about this image. This was essentially the image that sparked the debate of the all the money talk. Now, the big problem here is that a lot of people around the XRP community really kind of, skewed the idea of what the all the money discussion really meant. They thought that, oh, well, XRP will move and settle all the money around the world and be worth 50,000, 100,000. Like, it was ridiculous. But what all the money really pertains to is the interledger protocol, ILP. If you actually look at this image, you could see the XRP ledger being tapped in with ILP, and from ILP you go to the money networks, which is like SEPA, ACH, FPS, things like that. And then also on the right side you have the platforms, and you have the central banks and the major banks in the center point. But then on the right side you have blockchains and DLTs, capital markets, trade finance, Internet of Things, payment platforms, marketplaces, other platforms, all that kind of stuff. This is pretty much every single damn thing in the world tapped in on the ILP. Now, is this crazy to think that all the money will be moving over ILP? Absolutely not. In fact, I actually think that this is something that could very well happen. And the reason why I say that is because I do think that Quant Network with Overledger can also be tied into the ILP as well. This is where things get very, very interesting, because this is how everything gets connected. This is essentially the global network powerhouse of networks. Now, when we look at this and when we really kind of break things down, let's address what ILP actually is. So there was a great article that got written by Cointelegraph, and this is on April 1st, actually. What is the interledger protocol and how does it work? Well, we have the interledger protocol facilitates payments across two or more payment networks, aiming to enable direct transactions while also allowing for the involvement of intermediaries where necessary. It is a payment protocol fostering interoperability among diverse financial systems. By seamlessly connecting ledgers from several institutions, the open source interledger protocol aims to streamline interbank transactions, reducing processing times and cost for participants. Like the internet routes information packets, interledger operates as a network of computers that enables the transfer of value across separate payment networks. Within the interledger network, nodes fulfill various roles. Senders initiate value transfers. Connectors serve as bridges between senders and receivers, facilitating currency conversion and forwarding value packets, and receivers accept the transferred value. Now, while Ripple's XRP token can be used for settlements within the protocol, other settlement options are also available, which is why I have said that XRP won't move all the money. But does that mean that XRP will be useless? No. In fact, I still believe that XRP will move a significant amount of the money. I think that, we're going to gauge this on percentages, right? If XRP is settling on average per day $1 trillion, guess what? That is very significant. We're not even close to that right now. In fact, we're still in the low billions. Down here, we have sending money within the interledger protocol, JPY to DKK through a connector. Here you guys have the full breakdown of how that would work. Again, you have those connectors on each side of the examples here. Example 1, example 2. Now down here, we have who created the interledger protocol. Well, cryptocurrency and payment solutions company Ripple primarily developed the ILP. The original work started in 2015, and Safam Thomas, Ripple's former chief technology officer, made significant contributions. The objective of establishing this protocol was to integrate different ledgers and set up an internet of value through standardized digital asset exchanges. In my opinion, when we really look at this, right, this tells me that this has already been the plan since day one. ILP is a crucial piece of the puzzle, just like, pretty much everything else around XRP. ILP serves as a testament to the innovative drive and the spirit of collaboration propelling advancements in financial technology and cross-chain communication. Although Ripple led the initiative, the World Wide Web Consortium provided feedback on the design of ILP, which is still undergoing active development, with numerous organizations and individuals contributing to its refinement. Now, of course, they do continue on to talk a little bit more about things behind this. And if you guys do want to go check this out, you guys are more than welcome to. I don't really want to go in too much depth around like the technicals around it, because a lot of you guys just don't really care about that, and it's really not that important. But this one here, where we have, does the interledger protocol use XRP? We have ILP functions independently of any specific cryptocurrency, including XRP. The protocol operates as a flexible framework facilitating smooth transactions across multiple ledgers regardless of the digital asset involved. While Ripple strongly advocates for ILP adoption and incorporates XRP into some of its solutions, ILP itself doesn't enforce the use of XRP. Instead, XRP focuses on establishing an open and inclusive system for seamless cross-network payments that could incorporate digital assets. Although the role of XRP is primarily limited to the Ripple ecosystem, its interoperability is applicable outside of the network as well. The currency can be integrated with various financial institutions and payment platforms, making cross-border payments more efficient and accessible. While ILP's extensive cross-network protocol is much more sophisticated than XRP's direct interoperability, Ripple has been promoting partnerships and integrations between ILP and XRP, which means, guess what? Yes, XRP will be utilized within the interledger protocol, and it can be, but it's not going to be the only major player here. Note that. Make sure that you understand that as well. But why am I bringing this all of this up now, right? Why are we talking about this? Well, even when we go over to the Interledger Foundation's website, we have their vision, right? This is their vision. Send a payment as easy or as easily as an email, aka the internet of value. And here we have 1.4 billion people worldwide remain unbanked and excluded from traditional financial systems that could expand their economic participation and earning potential. And down here we have our global strategy for changes: support research and development of digital financial systems in vulnerable areas, fund innovative solutions geared towards serving underrepresented populations, foster an ecosystem that supports a paradigm shift in payment systems, create a robust and active interledger community that grows together, enrich talent pipelines to bring new voices and perspectives into the fintech space. And again, this is all targeting the same exact focus that Ripple had and still has with the internet of value, which is now essentially termed as the Finternet by the BIS. And the reason why we know this is because they specifically mentioned the internet or the interledger protocol, which we will talk about here in a second. But I want to give a big shout out to both Smoke Dog and also Mr. Man, because I'm going to use a lot of their information here, as well as even XRP drops and ISO 2022 Let's Do It on X. Now, I'm also going to talk about some information that I personally found as well behind this to really kind of support the overall argument. So let's start off with this first post here from April 17th from Smoke Dog. Progress of UCC digital asset amendment in the United States. The process is underway in all 50 states and is almost at 100%. And this is from the GBBC, by the way. The GBBC is a major blockchain coalition that's actually working with Hedera. I think it's working with Stellar. It's working with so many big names in the space, and even Ripple's tied into the GBBC as well. But here we have, and let me open this up in a new tab just so that I can show you guys. So we have update Article 9 to allow for perfection of security interest in digital assets. This is all to really kind of implement these types of technologies into every single state and really kind of define around how these digital assets would work in the current system. Again, really kind of hinting at the same thing that we've always talked about, where you kind of have the same exact thing with, harmonization and standardization outside of the US as well. Everything needs to be uniform when it comes to not only regulations, standards, and even, security interests as well. So that's basically what this is. And We even have the process is underway in all 50 states and is almost at 100%. This is to accommodate for these digital assets and these technologies. Now, also over here, we have UCC Article 12, which creates a new category of controllable electronic records for digital assets like cryptocurrencies, has been adopted by over 40 states, and implementation begins July 1st, 2025. This provides legal certainty for transactions involving digital assets like Bitcoin, which can be considered a type of smart contract. Big shout out to Mr. Man XRP for this. Check this out. This is about 5 minutes long. I know it's a little bit lengthy. This entire video is going to be very long, but listen closely to this.
You know, again, the UCC only provides private law rules. These rules only apply to transactions between private parties, such as sales and secured transactions. UCC has no impact on some of our favorite three-lettered, four-lettered agencies, such as the SEC, CFTC, and FinCEN. Which obviously are very popular here in the district. So, you know, no bearing on federal at all. It's all about the state's perspective from a commercial perspective. So what we like to say in our group of folks is the states are the laboratories of democracy. And certainly you can see that happening right now, because with the UCC amendments, the 2022 amendments, it's happening state by state. It didn't happen all at once, and states are discovering why it's important, and it's very interesting to see how that works. So the UCC 2022 amendments cover a broad range of issues, but primary aim is to provide clear and efficient rules for transactions involving digital assets such as Bitcoins and NFTs. Amendments are needed because current UCC rules are highly problematic. So if I were to leave you with anything as we're talking about Article 12 and these amendments and why they're so important, there's going to be about 3 different bullet points I want you to remember. One is this phrase, controllable electronic records. That's the cornerstone of the whole Article 12 amendment. So an electronic record capable of being subject to control. If you're trying to perfect, you got to make sure you have control. Control equals the record, which gives the person power to avail substantially all the benefit, exclusive power to prevent others from doing so, and exclusive power to transfer the record, and the person can identify themselves as one of the control folks. So there's 2 other things here that I think we should highlight: innocent acquire status and the preferred method of perfection. You know, that's at the core, the cornerstone of what UCC 12 is all about. You don't want to have a financial transaction with a digital asset and not be able to perfect it, right? So that's the thing that you want to remember, and you want to make sure there's nothing clouding it or encumbering it at the end of the day. You don't want to take a digital asset if it's got somebody else's third-party right to it. And that's basically all that's saying. As far as the what we call the CER, that's the acronym for the Controllable Electronic Record for Bitcoin, electronic money for CBDCs, gives better rules to Bitcoin, preserves the decentralized nature of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. Electronic money does not give any new or easier treatment to account-based CBDCs. Electronic money's only new rule for token-based CBDC, and no provisions for programmable money, just provisions to cover smart contracts. Note, every Bitcoin transaction is a smart contract. All right, rights of a qualifying purchaser. A purchaser requires all rights in the CER that the transferor had. A qualifying purchaser also takes free of any property claimed to the CER, and a qualifying purchaser is a purchaser who obtains control of a CER for value in good faith without notice of property claimed to the CER. The filing and financing statement of itself is not notice of a property claim to the CER. I'm going to show you now the adoption of UCC 12. And to date, we have 15. That's including the District of Columbia. We have another of others that are in progress. That's about 14 or 15. As I mentioned for the 3rd time, Virginia is the place for blockchain lovers, and we have passed I should say we have gotten it to the governor's desk. We're just waiting for him to sign our UCC bill. So we've got a number of other folks that are coming along, and yeah, it really is the most underrated piece of legislation, I think, right now going through our state legislatures. And we want to make sure that it's brought to bear, because we have to make sure that this stuff gets perfected. If we have digital assets and we can't give clarity to the transaction from a commercial perspective, it's all for naught.
Now, do you hear what they are discussing here, right? They're talking about specific things that need to be put in place so that we can finally implement and utilize the technology. That's why he even is saying, like, we need to focus on this. Like, we need to have clarity around not only the transactions, but even the technology, right? And we can't let this slip through our fingers. Right now, outside of the US, there is so much progression happening in terms of, clarity around regulations, standards, you name it. So the US definitely recognizes this, and a lot of the states now are really moving in unison, and they're moving rapidly as well. And I think that this is also proof of that. Now, outside of this, we also got over here UCC Article 4A plus FedNow plus retail CBDC, how it all works together from a legal standpoint. Account-based retail CBDCs in the United States covered by current legislation. Check this out. So we have applying the regulatory frameworks. What would it mean for an account-based retail CBDC to be regulated similarly to the regulation of wholesale digital fund transfers? The United States, they are regulated by Article 4A of the Uniform Commercial Code, UCC. And in the European Union, they are regulated by the European Directive on Payment Services in EU internal markets. And then we also have down here that a retail customer would initiate a fund transfer by sending a payment order to their bank. That bank would then provide its customer's account provided that its customer's account has sufficient funds, electronically send a payment order through, for example, FedWire or even FedNow to the beneficiary's bank. Down here, Article 4A, therefore, should apply to an account-based retail CBDC, much like it applies to a wholesale digital currency. Down here, Article 4A covers all of these risks, so they are getting prepared for CBDCs, even around FedNow. Over here we have, and again, this is a quote of this post by Smoke Dog, Interledger, Ripple's protocol, is the backbone of the FedNow payment system, enabling seamless cross-border transactions. This partnership showcases the Fed's embrace of private blockchain tech to modernize payments. Interledger's features like multi-hop routing and atomic transactions power FedNow's fast, secure, and interoperable cross-border payments, a powerful integration driving the future of the U.S. payment infrastructure. The Interledger protocol is deeply embedded within the FedNow system. And here you actually have a full breakdown of how the FedNow service will work. You have sender's financial institution, acknowledgement, FedNow service at the center point with reserve banks. This is all happening within seconds. Advice to the receiver's financial institution, and then the receiver. All of this in seconds. Over here we have FedNow and Ripple, what you need to know. Ripple is among the nearly 60 partners approved to integrate with FedNow. On the last slide here, we have the full image of FedNow Instant Payments with the Ripple logo. Now, on this slide, we have clear breakdown to exactly how FedNow connects to the Interledger protocol and XRP. FedNow to the Fed line equals TCP/IP based network and messaging system. For 10,000 plus banks, Interledger and XRP equals frontrunners to be TCP/IP equivalent in fintech plus ILP presentation on TCP/IP. Then on the left side over here from Computer World, we have FedNow will run on the Fed's Fed line, an IP-based network and messaging system that currently provides payment and information services to more than 10,000 plus financial organizations. Over here, we have the following network access is required for Fedline Advantage subscribers, TCP/Internet Protocol IP, and then also the Federal Reserve Banks cannot provide any setup or configuration assistance to troubleshoot network access issues when using non-Federal Reserve Bank designated or provided equipment. Now over here we now all use one network protocol, TCP/IP. Only one is required. The same exact way that pretty much only one network will be required here. The Interledger protocol is that protocol essentially that is only needed, and that connects everything, including even Overledger with Quant, XLM, you name it. Every single major utility project could very well be connected through ILP, which is why we look at that as all the money. It's not just XRP and Ripple. It's pretty much every single major utility project. And this applies to digital assets as well. And here we have Interledger and XRP are the front runners to be the TCP/IP equivalent. Again, when we look at XRP, yeah, XRP is a big piece of the puzzle, but it's not just XRP. At this point in time, no one can compete with the XRP ledger's technical spec or the performance of the consensus algorithm, though. And yes, this is why I do think that XRP is at the forefront, obviously, and why I do think that XRP will actually settle a significant percentage of transactions that will move over the interledger protocol in the future. Right now, it's still early on, but a lot of this is still very crucial information to know if you are holding XRP and if you have been following XRP for a very long time.
Packetizing.
Over here, we have a little bit of a breakdown actually of TCP/IP and also interledger. Check this out. It's about a 30-second long clip.
Packetizing and transporting data across a network of computers, the interledger protocol found a way to standardize, packetize, and transport money across different places where you store money. We call these ledgers, but if you think about ledgers, they used to be literally a book of accounts that stored value and recorded your transactions. Your bank had a ledger, your shopkeeper had a ledger. Everywhere where you had credit, we stored money, there was a ledger associated with it. And when those moved to the digital world with developers, you know how developers are, I'm one of them. I think probably there's 70 different ledger implementations.
So there you guys have it. And again, this really kind of just breaks down the protocol layer of, what this new world of finance is essentially becoming. Over here we have, if you understand, Ripple has created the standard for digital payments with the interledger protocol, like TCP/IP for the internet. Ripple came up with a protocol just like there was TCP/TIP or IP for the internet. Our engineering team has created something called the interledger protocol or ILP, and this is Brooks Entwistle. There are all these islands right now. You could ask each of these networks to move on the blockchain. There's scalability issues that come up very quickly when that happens. So the idea is, just like the internet connected data networks around the world, there should be a standard, a protocol that connects these value networks, these payment networks. Check this out.
It's unlikely, I think it's almost impossible, that there's going to be one blockchain that is this monolithic thing that is going to be what everybody across the entire world standardizes on. By definition, there will be different ledgers, different blockchains, different networks that exist. So putting the entire world on one blockchain, fundamentally, I don't think it makes sense. It's not how the world is starting to play out. I don't think it's how the world will end up being played out. So Ripple kind of pioneered this idea of how do you address that problem? How do you create interoperability between different ledgers, between different payment networks? And so we came up with a protocol, just like there was TCP/IP for the internet. Our engineering team has created something called the interledger protocol, or ILP. And the idea being that these different networks, blockchain just being one, ACH, which is the sort of money, the intra-country check clearing, money moving network here in the United States. Visa is a network. You can argue that HSBC has a payments network, et cetera, et cetera. There are all these islands right now, and sure, you can ask each of these networks to move on the blockchain, but then they're just kind of copying what they're doing and putting it over on a blockchain. There's scalability issues that come up very quickly when that happens. So the idea is, just like the internet connected data networks around the world, there should be a standard, a protocol that connects these value networks, these payment networks, and that's really what the interledger protocol that we've developed and is now open source. It's now out for other people to build on and improve on and deploy, but it sort of got its start within Ripple. And that's really the idea, is to create these networks. So now you can have interaction between the networks and create that efficiency, that interoperability of value that we'd argue is lacking, sort of that third component after the interoperability of goods, the interoperability of data. You need the interoperability of value. And just like you need standards for those others two, you need standards for this, and the ability to leverage something like the interledger protocol to do that is super important. And so now here's the nice, pretty future state world. It's all interconnected and whatnot. We don't need to spend a lot of.
And there you guys have it. And again, we are moving towards something like this, where it's all interconnected. Everything around the world is all connected through one protocol. I've always said it, right? With the internet, we didn't really think ahead. They didn't think that the internet was going to be as big as it is. But it was missing a significant piece, and that's the payments around it, right? We never actually created that protocol layer that everything and everyone could be connected to it, and making payments, fluently through it. When we look at that, right, the internet of value is essentially what we were missing around the internet. That's basically what this is. That's the best way that I could describe this. It's the missing piece that wasn't implemented on the internet. And now we're starting to see that become a reality. And yes, I do think that the ILP is the major protocol layer that will be at that forefront to connect everything in an interoperable way. Now, also over here, we have Ripple's Chris Larson. I think they agreed also that you need something like the interledger protocol. That's what's backed into Moha Loop, as well as many other very specific technologies that would help banks and central banks and governments in the developing world to really kind of leap ahead.
But again, until you have the interoperability of money, which we don't have yet for 2 billion people, you can you're tantalized by it, but you can't act on it. That's a huge problem, right? So they know that we need, this key interoperability, this very basic infrastructure layer that links M-Pesa to Bank of America to to what's going on in the Japanese financial system, and you don't have that, right? That's what's blocking a key thing happening here. And I think they agreed also that you need something like the interledger protocol. That's what's baked into Moja Loop, as well as many other very specific technologies that would help banks and central banks and governments in the developing world to really kind of leap ahead.
And again, it's everything is centered around this protocol layer. And yes, Moha Loop is fully connected with the interledger protocol, and it has been their major thing since day one. That's also why you see Ripple as a major partner of Moha Loop. And you can see some of the significant connections that Moha Loop has been creating to really kind of bank the unbanked. And this is all through the Internet of Value. It's the same exact thing that we have been talking about for a very long time when it comes to, Ripple and XRP. Here you guys have from April 11th. Did you know that the interledger protocol is an important part of the Moha Loop tech stack? It's an open neutral protocol for transferring money based on TCP/IP, the protocol that defines the internet. Again, this is why we are extremely excited about the ILP and what it could also do for not just XRP, but also the entire utility aspect of this market. Now, also over here from the BIS's recent report around the Finternet, you have architecture diagram for unified ledgers, users, individuals, and businesses at the top. You also have programmability, smart contracts, tokens, accounts, immutable ledger. At the center point, you have a unified interledger protocol. That is essentially what interledger protocol is. You have unified ledger number 1, and also it could be number 2, number 3. It doesn't matter, right? Everything can be fully connected through this. This is all through an interoperable protocol layer, the interledger protocol. And also remember this, right? This goes back to July of 2017. Do you guys remember the Bank of England Ripple proof of concept? We carried out a proof of concept with Ripple to explore the synchronized movement of 2 different currencies across 2 different real-time gross settlement systems linked using Ripple Connect and the interledger protocol. We wanted to demonstrate how this kind of synchronization might lower settlement risk and improve the speed and efficiency of cross-border payments. The engagement concluded. Upon completion of this proof of concept, we will continue to work with businesses on fintech's proof of concepts whenever this may help us fulfill our mission. And you know what's funny? Within this, you can actually see that the Ripple solution utilized by the bank was built around the open source interledger protocol that enables payments to be made across different ledgers and networks across the world. This is a big deal. And it also utilized Ripple Connect, which acted as the interface that enables an institution's internal systems to integrate with the Ripple network. Now, also, the solution utilized the ILP validator network, which coordinates the settlement of payments between transacting ledgers and is the source of truth regarding the success or failure of such payments. Now, outside of that, we also have down here reflections and next steps that the interledger protocol was able to support synchronization of payments between 2 simulated RTGS ledgers, that the ILP validator created a single source of truth between the 2 ledgers, eliminating the need for separate processes such as mutual reconciliation between separate ledgers, and then also cross-border payments when applied to wholesale markets present different challenges than when compared with retail and corporate transactions, which the Ripple product is designed to handle. The availability of liquidity is one such challenge, and the PLC allowed the bank and Ripple to begin exploring these questions. Again, this was a POC back in 2017 that utilized Ripple and the interledger protocol, and it was a significant piece of the puzzle to simulate two RTGS systems and the full-on settlement of utilizing it. This is atomic settlement. Now, with that being said, I also want to provide you guys with another clip here, and this is from ISO 2022. Let's do it. We have Watch Now Marcus Treacher, former senior vice president of customer success at Ripple, mentions blockchains on the interledger protocol theoretically can have infinite volume plus liquidity model of XRP was created to serve 7 to 9 billion people. All the money. Check this out.
We configured our technology in a way that really fixed the problem of cross-border payments liquidity very, very well. So for the cross-border payment challenge, we've created an open internet model. We call the idea interledger. So interledger, like the internet, supports our Ripple technology globally. And that model does not require a single universal common blockchain. It requires a very open blockchain interconnectivity. And that means that the volume is theoretically infinite. It's like the internet never runs out of capacity. Elements do, but the internet still works because it's inherently decentralized. So Ripple is the same. So we have a decentralized model, which is infinitely scalable. Supporting that, we have our liquidity proposition, which uses XRP, and that's a classic blockchain. But XRP was designed from the outset for transacting. So unlike the likes of Bitcoin, which is like very slow and slows down as you continue to build on volume, the XRP model is very, very, very high speed and very high capacity. So the liquidity part is very adequately served by the XRP model. The wider network we're creating, where if you're really going to create something of value for 7 billion people in the world, or 9 billion by 2050, you've got to have a very open internet-type model. And that's what we have with our X-current RippleNet model.
Now, again, as we look at this, right, it's not just XRP. Remember, it's not just going to be XRP, but XRP can handle the scale of something like this. And also, it's the liquidity aspect of XRP that's the significant piece of this. That's why I say like XRP will handle a very large percentage of the transactions, but we're not talking about like 75%, 50%, but I could see it handling like 10, 15, 20, who knows, right? Anyone can make a guess here. We don't know though for certain. Nobody knows for 100% certainty, but we do know that ILP will play a very large role here. And also, last but not least, I'm going to wrap up the video by playing this compilation of the interledger protocol invented by Ripple to realize the Internet of Value, or recently called the Finternet by the BIS. Check this out, and then I will do the outro.
So interledger was a project that we invented while working at Ripple, and then spun out as a separate open source project. And then Ripple's been paying a team of people to work on it full time for the past couple of years.
The challenge is for us to develop protocols that can allow us to make payments across those silos so that we can have payment systems, currencies, and protocols that are optimized for distinct use cases. That's what got Ripple interested in looking at protocols like interledger.
If you wanted to visualize what interledger looks like, you could draw it something like this, where it's basically, just like the internet is based around routers, interledger is based around a very similar concept of connectors. And what they do is they receive these, what we call interledger packets, which are just packets of data, and they look at a routing table, just like a router would, and then they decide which peer they want to forward that packet to. They might do a few things that routers don't do, such as the packet that's coming in has an amount on it, and the link that I have where the packet is coming in might be denominated in a different currency than the link going out, and so I have to apply an exchange rate. But other than that, it is very similar to what an internet router would do. So that's where the connector is. There you go. All right. Now, we're sending just data around. So you might say, like, okay, well, how's there any movement of money? If we're just sending data, it's not really a payment network. It's just another internet, right? So the way that we actually introduce money is that at each link, we keep track of the packets that we've sent. So if we send, let's say, 1,000 packets of 10 units each, then we say, okay, now these connectors, this one connector on the left that sent all these packets owes the other connector some money. And it can pay that other connector through whatever means that they agreed on. And so they could pay each other through Bitcoin, or they could pay each other through Lightning Protocol, or through Ether, or whatever it is. They could even pay each other through cash if they want. And the main difference between what you choose is if it's a slower method like cash, if it's something more manual, more expensive, there's higher transaction costs, you would probably do it less often. And that means you have to have a little bit more trust. But if you use something like a digital asset, maybe one that has payment channels where you can settle literally, 1,000th of a cent and still have it be cost effective, you can settle all the time. You can settle after almost every packet. And so the trust required is basically negligible at that point.
with the interledger protocol and with Ripple software and using XRP, we've created an internet of
what it is and what makes it so beneficial. Sure. So you can think of interledger, it's kind of like what the internet does at its core is route packets of data across different information networks. What interledger does is route little packets of money across different payment networks. So that could be blockchain networks, that could be individual blockchains like Ethereum, that could be payment channel networks like Lightning, that could be traditional banks or mobile money systems. So any type of payment network, and then interledger is about routing packets of money across those.
I won't get into too much of how that works, but I want to walk through some of the cool things that this lets you do. So when we're applying this analogy with the internet, one of the things we get to is this idea of streaming payments. So if you broke up payments into little tiny chunks and could route these packets super efficiently, what you could end up with is this idea of streaming payments. So one of the things that could look like is, oh, you need to send a bigger payment? Okay, it depends on your payment bandwidth, which is a weird concept that we work with a lot, where that would be measured in dollars per second that you can send, or whatever currency you have. Some of the cool use cases that come out of this, things like streaming media. So today payments are super inefficient and clunky, and so we prefer, things like monthly subscriptions. I pay my $10 a month because I don't want to be bothered by this. If you made the payments super efficient and could do it on a very small basis, you could do things like paying for a second of video. So you're streaming me video, I'm streaming you money, and if I pause the video, I stop paying for it. If I walk away, I stop. If I come back and hit play again, keep streaming money, because it would be that efficient. Another cool thing that comes out of this is the idea of sign-up list services. Today in the physical world, when you walk into a shop and you want to have some financial exchange, the exchange normally goes, I give you money, you give me good or service, and I walk out. I don't need an account, I don't need to sign up, things like that. Today on the internet, you always need to sign up for accounts because there's no way to do this very seamless. Here's a little bit of money, you give me a little bit of service, rinse and repeat. As a business, if you're giving me hosting services or something like that, you don't need to know who I am, you just need the money. And so with something like interledger, you'd enable anybody to land money in your account, even if they're on some completely different payment network. So that would enable sign-up list services. Another neat idea we've been playing with is the idea of a creative marketplace license. So the idea here is, today we have Creative Commons license, which is awesome. If you want to give away your work, it's a really, really great project. One of the issues with Creative Commons is there's no way to have a license that's as easy to use where you can actually monetize your work. So the idea here is with something like interledger, you could actually have a license that says anybody can use this content, feel free to, but for every download or view or whatever kind of interaction you want to monetize, just pay me at this address. And the thing that's really missing today in order to do this is the assumption that just anybody could pay you. Because there's no interoperability and because we don't have internetworking for payments, if you did this kind of license, you'd be like, okay, anybody that has Bitcoin can now pay me, which is a tiny subset of everybody. The thing that makes the internet work is that everybody can access it quality. Last kind of fun thing to throw out there is if you connect every type of currency and payment network together, what you can enable is payments from weird currencies. So today you use dollars because everyone else accepts dollars here. If everything's connected, you could pay with stocks, community currency, local currency, crypto, whatever you prefer.
Now, again, after hearing all of this, this was a complete full breakdown of just how significant the interledger protocol is to realize in the true internet of value. Remember, when we hear these discussions, it puts it into perspective on how long this has been, taking and how much work there has been put in behind the scenes. Everyone thinks like, oh, Bank of America can just say, oh, we're going to tap into the XRP ledger tomorrow. Guys, it's not that easy. Like, there's a lot of technicals that majority of you out there, and this is not like me saying, hey, like, you guys don't get this. No, majority of the population doesn't even understand on how half of this works. I mean, try to talk to somebody and say, hey, how does my bank transaction actually work? And when they give you a full breakdown, you're like, I didn't even know half of this, because a lot of the technicals are not fully explained. The system that we are running on today is so complicated. And even if we look at this new system that is being created, designed, developed, it's still very complicated, but it's in a much more efficient and it's in a much faster and more cost-effective way as well. And it's all designed efficiently for every single aspect of what digital assets provide, meaning, on-demand liquidity, instant settlement. The time to settle and the cost to settle is significantly low, right? So as we really look at this, like, it's taking some time, and it's because every single piece has to be put in place. Standards, regulations, the actual protocol layers. There's a lot of work going into this, and I know that we've been waiting for so long. I know that these things have been taking, forever, and we're growing impatient. But I want you guys to understand that, like, technically speaking, there is a ton of work being put into place. There's a lot of things happening, but it's things that are not, exciting to learn about. The interledger protocol is not something extremely exciting to learn about, unless you're into the technicals of how these things actually work. But like I said, the internet is missing the internet of value. It's missing that value added layer where you can move money so fast and it's instantly settled. We don't have instant settlement today. We might have instant payments, but they're not settling instantly. This is that missing piece of the internet. So with all that being said, I know that it was a long video. It was the longest video on this channel, but I hope that kind of taught you guys a little bit more about, interledger protocol, the significance behind the internet of value as well with it, and really kind of shed a light on a few things as well. So with that being said, if you guys stuck around until the end of the video, I truly commend you all. And if you guys did enjoy the video, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on if you guys want more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.